Esoteric interpretations of Quranic verses, especially those that touch upon profound imagery, like Surah Al-Qalam 68:42, delve into the spiritual, symbolic, and metaphysical dimensions of the text. This verse, which describes the Day of Judgment with the phrase, "The shin will be uncovered and they will be invited to prostrate, but they will not be able to," has been the subject of extensive mystical contemplation. This video is a detailed esoteric interpretation based on classical Sufi thought, philosophical insights, and the hermeneutics of Islamic mysticism. The unveiling of the divine reality. In esoteric exegesis, the phrase, "the shin will be uncovered," is understood metaphorically rather than literally. The word shin is seen as a symbol for the unveiling of a profound, awe-inspiring reality. On the Day of Judgment, this unveiling represents the lifting of veils that obscure the truth during worldly life. In this context, the shin signifies an essential aspect of divine majesty and power. The uncovering symbolizes the removal of illusions and barriers that separate human perception from the ultimate reality. The veils of ignorance, pride, and heedlessness that obstruct spiritual vision in the worldly life are torn away. Sufi interpretations often highlight that the human soul is in a state of constant yearning for union with the divine. However, on the Day of Judgment, the unprepared soul, encumbered by its attachment to materiality and sin, will find itself incapable of responding to the call to prostrate before the unveiled truth. The call to prostration and spiritual inability. The second part of the verse, "and they will be invited to prostrate, but they will not be able to," points to the ultimate spiritual paralysis of those who denied Allah's signs during their earthly lives. Prostration in Islamic spirituality is not merely a physical act, but a symbol of total submission, humility, and recognition of divine sovereignty. Esoteric insights. 1. Prostration as alignment with the divine will. In Sufi teachings, prostration reflects the soul's alignment with its divine origin. On the Day of Judgment, when the divine reality is fully unveiled, those who refuse to submit to Allah in life will find themselves spiritually disfigured. Their inability to prostrate reflects the condition of their hearts, which have become hardened and incapable of recognizing the truth. 2. The inversion of spiritual reality. During life, individuals are given the freedom to cultivate spiritual faculties through worship, reflection, and good deeds. Those who misuse this freedom by indulging in arrogance and heedlessness create inner barriers. On the Day of Judgment, the unveiled reality will expose their true spiritual state, rendering them incapable of responding to the divine command. 3. Symbolism of inability. Inability to prostrate reflects a soul's estrangement from its creator. It symbolizes a profound disconnection from divine mercy and grace, resulting from a life devoid of genuine submission. In mystic thought, this is akin to a mirror being so clouded by rust that it can no longer reflect light. Metaphysical dimensions of the unveiling. In many esoteric traditions, including Sufism, the Day of Judgment is understood as the culmination of a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. The phrase, "the shin will be uncovered," can also be interpreted as an event within the individual soul, a moment when one's deepest truths are revealed. 1. Unveiling of the self. The shin could symbolize an essential aspect of the self that has been hidden from one's conscious awareness. On the Day of Judgment, this hidden self, whether enlightened or corrupted, will be laid bare before Allah and oneself. 2. Theophanic encounter. The unveiling may also represent a direct encounter with the divine presence. Sufi mystics like Ibn Arabi emphasize that such encounters can either be a source of bliss or unbearable torment, depending on the soul's preparedness. 3. The role of time. In esoteric interpretations, the Day of Judgment is not only a future event, but also a recurring moment in the spiritual life of an individual. Moments of crisis, reflection, and spiritual awakening in life can serve as microcosmic days of judgment, where the veils are lifted and one is forced to confront the truth. Interconnectedness of divine names and attributes. Esoterically, the verse also reflects the interplay of Allah's names and attributes. The unveiling signifies the manifestation of Allah's Jalal, majesty, which contrasts with his Jamal, beauty. The Day of Judgment is a moment where his majesty is fully revealed, instilling awe and humility in creation. The inability to prostrate stems from the dominance of Allah's attribute of justice over his attribute of mercy for those who rejected him. This interplay underscores the necessity of balancing hope and fear in one's spiritual journey. Lessons for the spiritual seeker. For the seeker of truth, this verse serves as a profound warning and reminder. 1. Cultivating inner submission. The ability to prostrate on the Day of Judgment is directly linked to one's humility and submission in this life. True submission arises from recognizing one's dependence on Allah and striving to align with His will. 2. Preparing for the unveiling. Spiritual practices such as self-purification, meditation, and remembrance of Allah help the seeker prepare for the ultimate unveiling. By removing the veils of ego and desire, one becomes receptive to the divine presence. 3. The reality of sujood. Prostration in this life is not limited to physical acts, but encompasses the heart's submission. The verse reminds us to integrate this spiritual prostration into every aspect of life, ensuring that our actions, thoughts, and intentions reflect devotion to Allah. Conclusion. The esoteric interpretation of Surah Al-Qalam, 6842, reveals layers of meaning that extend beyond its literal reading. The imagery of the unveiled shin invites reflection on the spiritual unveiling of truths, both within oneself and in the cosmos. The call to prostrate and the inability to respond underscore the profound consequences of a life disconnected from the divine. For the seeker, this verse is a call to action, a reminder to cleanse the heart, submit to the truth, and prepare for the moment when all veils will be lifted. In the words of the great Sufi poet Rumi, "Do not be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth, so that when the truth unveils itself, you will not stand apart but will prostrate in awe."